I want to say it, though. I want to say that people open up their app, they don't look at the top, they scroll immediately to the bottom and slowly scroll up and make sure that none of their guys are at the bottom. That's the first thing I do.
Yeah, every day, because I don't even watch on Thursdays. Like I'm not. Like used to work with me. I don't want to be around. I just get too annoyed over a missed 5-footer. I can't do that on a Thursday. So I just like close it out. Despite what people think, I do have things to do.
Mayo experience.
Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by Underdog, the Mexico Open picks, bets, one and done, and a recap of Torrey Pines, which Jeffrey was very good to you in those final 2 hours.
Oh, wasn't that fun? You know, the first of those 2 hours, Pat, CBS didn't even know Ludwig was still playing. Just throw there. Listen, I don't know, reminded me of Memorial when Victor won. Like, thought it was going to be the day, and he just, a lot of mistakes, silly ones. But I got to say, if you watched a lot of that tournament, a lot of players seemingly were making mistakes. Mistakes from fairways, a lot of three putts. You're right. So, but yeah, I don't know. I'm smiling about it. Victor came through. There were non-believers out there, which shocked me. And I didn't mean people like, no, this guy like will get it. They're like, this guy, how hard people were on him after Torrey, Pat, when he's like yakking beside tee boxes and looking as pale as a ghost. I don't know. I thought some of that was ridiculous. Hopefully some of them were hard enough to ride again. And Scotty better be on his game because the kid's going to nip all year long. Last year's a rookie. Going to all these courses, all these guys had played before. Sure, there's exceptions in a major or two, which he played great in 3 of the 4 of them. But now he's going to all these courses that he's played before. He played Torrey 2 weeks before. I think it's gonna just be right shades of Victor being like maybe the best player on the planet in a year. I don't think it's hyperbole, but we'll see. Second place at the Masters. We're coming for something bigger. Let's go.
So anytime that you see Denny McCarthy in contention, just know that the young upstart is going to win. It happened at Memorial with Victor. I actually tweeted that out yesterday, that we at the top of the board right now, because I looked at what the odds were going, and Ludwig was actually the favorite going into Sunday. And I think he dropped as low as, 60-1 after he went 5-5-5 through that stretch, made the 2 bogeys and parred the par 5, number 6. And then he ended up taking off after Cust lipped him on... I didn't see it. Did you see it come across your timeline? Because I missed it. Had I have seen that Cust was out there, he made one tweet all day about golf, and it was about how shitty Victor was, or how shitty Ludwig is. And then, we didn't hear from him the rest of the day. And then all of a sudden, Ludwig wins. And in my mind, because that I had bet Scheffler. And I got to say, although he lost, he played like garbage. So when you chip in 3 times, you can maintain some of what you got going on. But, I lose betting golf every week anyway. This is just something that happens to me now. I don't win ever. Not like you, who's now won 3 of the first 7 events. You're on fire to start the season. I just don't win. I got to win like $20K on DraftKings just to keep myself even at this point. But it was nice to bet on someone, knowing that even when he was 5 back going into the final round, it's like, oh, he's going to be in contention at some point and have a chance to win this. There's something fun about that. Like some weeks you bet to, it's just like, oh, I have no one inside the top 20. This sucks.
Chips in on Scheffler. There's so many moments where I just I don't touch him, but I think, oh, it's gonna win or it's his time. I didn't see Cust throw shade. Cust did that a lot. Cust treated Ludwig last year like he was Rory. Like it bothered me. Cust, how hard he was on a rookie who showed you how good he was. I thought a lot of that was unfair. But guys like Jordan Spieth and Morikawa win multiple majors out of the gate, and all of a sudden, like what you're supposed to do changes when you're supposed to be great. And I'm watching, I'm just like, please be great. Like you're supposed to be great. This is when you need to be great. Just be great. It's kind of like the same conversations I have with myself watching Justin Herbert sometimes. But Ludwig didn't let me down. San Diego loves me, Pat. Like it's a love story, forever. Me and San Diego, and between English and Ludwig, they paid me back. Never paid me back with Nate Kading's missed kicks or Marlon McCree's fumble off a Brady interception that sends us to the AFC Championship game, and we fumble the interception running around like a fucking doofus, and the Patriots get another chance at it, and we lose. Yeah, those were love stories. But yesterday was a love story from San Diego to me. The second time in a few weeks. It's been great. Since the Chargers got eliminated, it's been really kind to me. I hit 2 golfers, hit a big Eagles future. Things are on the up and up. You know, spent last night on the internet looking at ways to spoil my kids. So let's go.
What did you land on with that? Because I know that you're under 18 feet of snow at the moment.
Yeah, they're just in like a big Lego phase. That's not cheap. These goddamn like Lego Friends. So Lego Friends, a bunch of Lego Friends sets. You know, they're fully into that shit, and that's the sort of stuff I will. It's better than a lot of like other things I could be buying. It gets them like creative and building, and they're into it, and I think that's something that I try and support. So that's where we are these days. And yeah, snowed in Friday and yesterday. A lot of snow. And we're on a holiday today. It's called Family Day. It's so pathetic. Like, I love my family, but a holiday Monday for your family, like, that's what the weekend is for. We're just snowed in. I don't want to scream too loud because they're like home. Normally not home when I'm doing this.
Yeah, we had school cancellation Thursday and Friday, and it's Heritage Day here today, so there's no school. So 5-day weekend for the kids. I'm taking them to a hockey game later on.
Heritage Day sounds a lot better than Family Day.
I agree. Well, it's matched up with President's Day in the States because it's President's Day today.
Oh, okay. So they're on holiday. They're on holiday too. But yeah, I think this is winning is a skill, and it wasn't easy, but he came through. And in the end, Pat, like I was really all over it with my card. I took a Tommy Fleetwood cheat week. I'd been off Tommy for a while. But after we did our show where I didn't really pay any attention to weather, just looked like it was going to be wet and soft. And that brought up, like, just build a U.S. Open card. It's Torrey Pines. Just build a U.S. Open card. And I'm not betting Scotty, and I'm not betting Rory. And number 3 in the pecking order from me is I skip right over guys like Morikawa and JT. I just do.
I thought that Cantlay was, because when I looked at the board earlier, and then it got whittled down to around 5 or 6 guys by a whole 6 or 7 or so. It was Mav, Ludwig, Scotty, Rogers and Denny, and then Cantlay was there. I was like, oh, no one has money on Cantlay. No one wants to see Cantlay win. He's probably going to win. And if he hadn't screwed up so badly on 13, I think he would have won.
Yeah, and even on Saturday, Cantlay was on my card. Ludwig, Tommy, Cantlay, and then it was like Pendy, Ashkay, Clark. So other than Pendy, like I felt like everyone, as long as the scores stayed within reach, were around it. I circled this fucking thing. And I was like that little poo crumb that didn't flush down the toilet. It stayed up. That was Ludwig for me, right? So I circled the drain all fucking day, and then I left rising. But yeah, Cantlay, even on Saturday, I don't want to, because you focus on the guys you're in on, but the amount of like fucking 6-footers this guy was missing as well. And Ashkay'd get to 18 every day and miss a 3 fucking footer. But it felt like when you looked at how other guys were doing at times, they were missing not the same putts, but they were getting themselves into their own, like, what the fuck's wrong with you? And that course is just the best. So anytime they want to play there with great fields, like, we're going to get a fun finish like we did.
I want to circle back to Denny for a second. So Denny loses in that playoff to Victor at Memorial. Previously in the season, the only time he contended, he lost in that playoff to Akshay at Valero. So another young guy beating Denny when he was searching for his first win. And then he actually got himself into the lead at this. The moment that he got into the lead, I think it was hole 10, he was in the bunker and like chipped it into the rough and then made bogey. Like someone from the crowd must have been like, "Hey, Denny, you're winning the tournament." He's melted down immediately.
You know, he's a guy at both of those courses, Pat, that is, with much respect to his skill, I just don't really think of him ever. And it's not that he hasn't won, which is a fair label. When it comes to Denny, I'm like, my response is I bet my own losers, right? I got my own guys who don't win to bet. I don't need to bet your guys who don't win. But he seems to have a knack for these harder courses. And is he really good with his long irons, or it just seemed like I have memories of great shots at Memorial and yesterday?
I don't think that historically he's always good with his long irons, but when he was hitting his 3-woods, he was hitting his 5-wood, or maybe it was his hybrid, like where Patrick Rogers was hitting 4-iron into this, Denny was hitting 3-wood, and he was just hitting it masterfully. He made 3 eagles throughout the course of the week, and then you always have that out with Denny that he's just going to make all these 15-foot putts, which he was doing until he didn't, and that was the end of him.
I guess we got to talk about Maverick, right?
We'll get to Mav here in a second, because Mav, I haven't seen the official report, but I looked at the odds board. He is, I believe, WD'd from Mexico already, because he is not on the odds boards anymore. And after winning $2.5 million, I really don't blame him for not having to go to Vedanta and Puerto Vallarta against a subfield event. But he was originally going to be in the field. Keith Mitchell has appeared to withdraw as well. I think that actually happened over the weekend as well. But I did want to let everyone know, code Mayo at Underdog right now will get you a deposit bonus of up to $1,000. And we got a major season best ball draft going on. Congratulations to everyone. I got Jeff. I don't know the last time I was so good at doing rankings about anything. Maybe it's because I was one of the only people alive who actually put out best ball rankings for this season long. But just the amount of people were like, "Hey, I advanced every team going through. This was great." And just I think so many people drafted the Underdog best ball PGA because segment 1 is over now. Now we're into segment 2, so you had to win your group and advance your teams through. That there was either people who watched this show and watch Byron and I break it down and do the strategy, and then people who were just arbitrarily picking people. And just if you had a modicum of strategy in what you were doing and just understood how this works, that you just dominated every draft that you did. So I doubt it will be as soft next year, but maybe it will be. It was great.
Fantastic. Good for everybody.
And what I had told people was if you're new to Underdog, you get that big deposit bonus, a deposit a bunch, and then just draft all your teams with the bonus money, and then you'll still have money left over to make pick'em plays or whatever. And Kenny and Byron lit it up this week with their pick'em plays on Underdog. So it was a very profitable week from that standpoint. But my outright betting is not going so well.
So I saw Kenny Byron crushing it with the Underdogs. Also, Byron gets to a freezing cold. This guy's ripping
2 irons.
He's ripping 2 irons in an ice box. I'd never hit a bowl. I never hit it a 2 iron that flush in my entire life. You put 100 in front of me. He's a fucking beast.
I got to the simulator last week. It's the first time I've swung a club in 5.5 months.
Oh, no. I am.
Well, I have my new PXG sponsored the show, so I have brand new PXG clubs and a brand new Black Ops driver that's just been sitting in my house since the end of October, whenever it might be. I'm I really want to hit these things, and they're because I have the Mavericks. I gave them to my father-in-law, and they have the really fat backs. My instructor has told me, it's you've gotten too good for these clubs now. They're actually impacting the way that you play. You need to learn how to hit better clubs if you actually want to get better. The clubs that you have are for a 20 handicap to make sure that the ball gets in the air and it goes far enough. But now that you're striking the ball a little bit better, they're actually somewhat detrimental to how you actually want to flight the ball and shape your
Pry
shot.
my player performance irons out of my cold, dead fucking hands. Or I'll try to hit those razor blades. I like the golf I'm playing. I don't swing it as fast as you, so I don't think I'm quite at your problem, but I do need to probably a few people have told me I don't need that sort of support anymore. I could get away without it, and I'm just meh.
Well, remember when I came to, I see, whatever makes you comfortable. We're not going to the PGA Tour here. So when I went to your club and played, and I used the rentals that were up there, great rentals, by the way, and that TaylorMade, I think was the M2 that I was just absolutely mashing. But the first 7 holes I was using those clubs because they weren't blades, but they were much thinner than the clubs that I use. It just took me a while to figure out how to hit them.
I believe that. Yeah, as you say that, I'm thinking about a couple of the lasers you ripped off the tee.
Those were
I can name
those were
drop
like
a
towards the
couple of
back.
them, but they'd be meaningless to like anyone listening. But yeah, they're here. Don't worry.
Yeah, when you don't know where the danger is and you just go full bore with the driver and like actually hit it well, you're like, oh yeah, I didn't realize there was a bunker there, water there. I just happened to split the difference.
Yeah, no, you hit it into like a 11-yard alley that bunker water like native. It's called Knutson Alley. And it's just like this little runway that takes you so far up the fairway, but you probably didn't even realize how much trouble was there. Like no one would tries to get there off the tee. If they do, it's by accident. But I don't know, yours was right there.
That was the Nick Taylor hole, wasn't it?
Yes, I like to look at it as that Tommy Fleetwood would have been laid up for eagle if he hit it to where you hit it.
I mean, I had an eagle putt there, so I don't know what Tommy was doing.
Yes. We had the front pin?
Yeah, we had the front pin.
I don't remember. Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, from where you were, yeah. I mean, I'm not surprised. It's all coming back to me now. But yeah, let's go. We'll go again this summer.
So let's talk about Mav. Oh yeah, speaking of the summer, I booked the venue for the live show. It's going to be June 7th. It's going to be doors are going to open at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time in Toronto. So go book your hotel now. And it's going to be at the Rec Room, right next to the Sky Dome. If you're thinking about where it is, I have to officially sign the contract before I can start selling tickets to it. But tickets will be available in the Mayo Media newsletter, and I'll have the links in the show and everything like that. There's the official Maverick McNeely WD. It just came across my screen right now. But yeah, I'll have all of that. We'll be doing like a meet and greet afterwards. There's going to be drinks in the room. It'll be a live Cust Corner. All your favorites will be there, including me and Jeff and Cust and Rob and Cam and Gary and more. Kenny and Byron were even thinking about coming up as well. So it's going to be a very solid time. If you've ever wanted to support the show, we'll put on a show for you and we can have a good hang afterwards at the Rec Room in Toronto, June 7th, the week of the Canadian Open. So if you're thinking, if you've never, you have I can't believe I have to say this, but 3 separate people asked me about this, Jeff. You do, if you're American, you do need a passport to come to Canada.
Oh. Yeah, apparently that's the case. Is there a big UFC that weekend?
I have no idea. I don't know if the UFC schedule is out for that. I know Bronstetter can't make it because he has
I'm
a
sure
wedding.
They're fighting, right?
No, he has a wedding.
Oh, he has a wedding.
Yeah.
Oh, god damn it. Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. And the other thing that I figured out that is, I assume people would know, if you are a Fantasy National member right now, if you're not, fantasynational.com/Mayo, you get 20% off. They didn't realize that the leaderboard link was at the very top of the page in like the banner. People kept, because I kept showing off the leaderboard app because it was way ahead of the coverage, put it that way, this week. Like, oh yeah, this app looks awesome. Why would I use any other app? Because I can just track everything without having to click on an individual player, click back out, refresh it, click back in. It'll just happen all in real time up on the screen. But yeah, if you are a Fantasy National member, you have access on Apple or Android to that. It's just a banner at the top of the Fantasy National page. It'll bring you to like test screen because it's still in beta mode, but you'll be able to use it as long as you remember. So I would highly recommend that you do that. That's how Paul wins his money every week. He had an Akshay top 10. What was the other one? Nick Taylor? Nick Taylor top 10 just by using the live stats on the page. Just like, boop, click the button. Like, oh, I'll bet those 2 guys top 10. They're good odds.
Yeah, there's a lot of struggles, I think, on the regular trackers this week. At least to my recollection. I was snowed in. I'm not even like a big Friday guy, but I couldn't even move on Friday here. So I took in a lot of the tournament, too much of the tournament.
I watched a ton too. So let's talk Mav.
I just want to say before Mav, the broadcast seemed to be and radio, which, I don't want to like ruin their new secret right now, but they're not even on fucking site. And they used to react before the crowd, Pat. Like the guys on the radio could react to like a close miss or make before the crowd. Now the crowd can react before them. Just whatever. But they're off-site. It fucking sucks. And they're just watching TV, I think, and calling it off TV. But when you're outside playing and watching your kids play in the snow, you just
I was shoveling my driveway. I did the same thing. I just put my earbud in, streamed it as it.
But do you think the coverage being slower is maybe to the amount of to like the complaint you made? Like show less like tapping putts and just show more
shots,
actual shots. But that will leave you if some degenerate gambler or someone with a live hot ticket is tracking on shot tracker up to the second, they're going to feel like, what the hell's wrong with you guys? But in totality, getting farther behind might be the move.
I think yes. I think there is a little bit. It felt like it was a bit much because, like, I was seeing. Remember when Scotty ended up making the bogey, basically the shot that took him out of the tournament, when he ended up missing the par 3 to the left, the really long one. He was using this like flighted 5-wood. It was actually a really good shot. Just didn't cut back in because he didn't have. He couldn't hit his fade to save his life on the back nine. He couldn't do it on Saturday either, which is really shocking for Scotty Scheffler when you see his iron play. Like, the distance control was still there. He had everything pin high. It just wasn't going where he wanted it to go, which is just baffling to see after watching him the past 2 years. But he had missed the green to the left, got nestled down in some thick rough, and he didn't make it to the green, so he had to chip it again. So I was tracking it on my phone, and I saw the initial shot that he had hit in, and like I'm seeing, it's like, oh, duff chip, misses chip, makes bogey. And like they still haven't shown him, he's already in and on the next tee, and we still haven't seen him hit this chip shot yet. So I wouldn't mind, like, being behind is okay, because they did it with Ludwig a few times too, when he ended up having that eagle putt on 13. And they really took him off TV for a while, which was, I get it. There was like 5 other guys, and it seemed like he was going away because he couldn't make a putt on the first 6 holes. But you eventually have to go back to him. Like, I can see he's putting for eagle right now. I've seen he's already made birdie. I haven't seen his drive. I haven't seen this, like, no one got to that green in 2 basically all day except for him, apparently. And we didn't see that shot until way later. Like, if you're going to cobble it together, I wouldn't mind if it was like, oh, and, you know, here is Ludwig. Here is his approach on the par 5. Oh, wow, he put it on the green. But if you know that you're already behind, like, just show Ludwig's approach and then just cut straight to Ludwig putting. Like, that's okay to me. I just want to see the shots. I don't care if you're like 3 minutes behind, but I don't want you to pretend it's now real time when you're showing something that happened 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. They feel like just because we showed you the approach, we can't pump out the putt.
Yeah.
We have to pretend. No, be like, listen, this happened. Now we're going right to the putt. Like, anyone with a brain has to have respect for, like, when there's a lot of guys contending and the amount of shots, and when you have sort of like the preeminent name like a Scotty or Rory, who at moments you want to give even more attention to. They should absolutely be going right from approach to putt. No issues with that. That you're right. That would almost be, if I could give them like one tip, I would say you're allowed to do that. Like we have the wherewithal to respect that.
And listen, you hit on it, though, because I'm using the Fantasy National app. I can see what's happening well before it happens on TV. And I know that people who view the show are probably doing the same thing, whatever that they're using in terms of tracking this. The audience at home has no clue, by and large. So it's not actually that big of a deal. And I thought the broadcast, by and large, was very good outside of, there were a lot of cutaways to Rory. And although he wasn't really contending, but I don't have a problem with that. And this is why I mentioned last week when they weren't cutting back to Scheffler on the Saturday, then they were showing and the one issue I had with it was on actually the Friday broadcast when they kept showing Spieth down the stretch and he couldn't make the cut, and they were pretending like he could make the cut. It's like, no, even if he chips this in for eagle, he's still going to be a shot short of the cut. Like, what are we doing here? Why do we keep watching Spieth?
Yeah. Also, I'm not really a props guy, but was on the full fade Spieth thing off the hot last week. Now we're going to US Open track. That played well. When a guy like Rory's wheels are spinning, Pat, I don't mind that. It's sort of the same as when the Cowboys are bad, it's still a huge fucking story, if that makes any sense.
I agree.
They still sort of rule, they still lead a lot of coverage. And I get why. And when a guy like Rory is just sort of barfing on himself on the greens, I think that is worth giving it the time. I know people with bets or guys in running only want to see the top, but No, that's part of the ecosystem that is like that's such a big part of it.
And the problem became is that they were showing Rory, but they were showing zero Ludwig shots, who, even at the time, like I said, he was second in odds still to win the tournament, even like going into the back nine. And we didn't see a shot of him for an hour and a half. But this doesn't need to be an either or proposition. You can show Rory struggling and missing 3-foot putts the entire time, but you can just also show Ludwig too. You don't have to. There was a lot of, and like you said, we saw more approach shots than putts, which I think is a big positive. And I really like the angle that they used off the tee, the really low angle. I thought that was really cool. And even the new graphic that CBS has, where not only do you have shot tracker, you have like the landing zone for it too.
Love it.
I really like that. I thought that was a really nice touch. But we also don't need to see them, like for a while when we were seeing the putts, which is why the approach cut directly into the putt if you're going to go on delay actually works out really well, because then you're not watching guys line up their putt for 25 minutes. You're just seeing shot, then we can move on to someone else. It doesn't need to be either or. You can show both. There is time to show both, but they like to linger. They like to fester on Denny walking off his shot. And I guess for Scotty, it's one thing. Okay, I'm trying to think if like maybe we'll do this as a show and we just think of like the best at certain things in golf. How good is Scotty at chipping in from off the green?
Yeah, I mean, he has this like running thing with Ted Scott. Right? Like he gets X amount of years. They've got like quotas on that shit. And they're just like toying at us with how quickly they meet their marks. It's insane. Even in the bunkers, right? He sunk one yesterday.
He put one on
late
Friday
in the round, which gave you hope again.
Yeah, like every time that's why it was fun to have money on him in a weird way, even though it lost. It was just really exciting to have, because I'm always just so, because it's like most of us, 99% of us, because I so rarely bet Scheffler, always see it the other way. It's like, I can't believe this fucking guy is doing this. Like, this is awful. I hate this. But when you have money on him, you're like, oh, this is super exciting.
Yeah, but it's so weird to bet on something. Like, listen, you bet a guy, unless you're betting. Listen, you bet close to the top of the board. You have certain expectations, and you like demand things out of your bet. But you bet Scheffler, it's like you're demanding those chip-ins.
No,
Like,
I was
not
demanding.
might be the wrong word.
I was
but
demanding a better tee to green game. What I thought was fun about this is that like he was striking the ball awfully. Like Saturday was the back nine on Saturday is the worst I've ever seen him play. And he was missing short putts. He couldn't control his irons. He drove it into every single bunker possible. He was awful. I don't expect, like, when I bet on Scheffler, I expect him to basically be the best tee to green in the field. Driving, irons, chipping. And the chipping was the part that's saving him. That's the fun out with Scheffler, is that it's almost like vintage Spieth. Even when he's not playing well, he'll just find a way to be in contention.
Yes, I guess I maybe wasn't with the best words there, but you just like it's like in the price. Greatness is in the price, and you kind of expect it from everywhere. He's such a lovely guy. Even hearing him talking, he's like, I'm so down on myself. I'm playing bad, but I have to give myself grace because it's only been a couple weeks and I'm still getting the results, but I'm so frustrated with how I'm playing. Then he goes back to like, I have to give myself grace. It's honestly so beautiful. You know he's gonna fucking pop. He's just gonna pop soon. I just hope my bet doesn't get nipped at the wire when he does. When he goes on his run, I hope like I'm just like DOA before Sundays even start. Anyway, I can't wait for Tim to tweak out at Augusta if they do that landing zone stuff, because he even hates like shot tracker.
I don't
at Augusta.
I don't think that you need it at Augusta in a weird way, because I feel like the coverage is so good there and the course is so familiar that you know what the result of the ball is going to be once you see it going a certain way. But I really liked it here because it kind of showed, like when the ball was hit, you're like, oh, that looks really good. Like you can see that there's a little bit of like, is it over drying? Is it not over drying? And then you'll see like the landing zones. Oh, that's pretty close to the bunkers. That might roll in. Like that was what I enjoyed about it.
Before we get to Denny, there's one thing which makes golf the fucking best in the world. Saturday morning, people are losing their minds how like excited they are that like we're gonna get this like Rory Scotty duel down the stretch. Like, funny enough, they were paired together Sunday, and golf is so beautiful. Where no, It's Denny McCarthy and Patrick Rogers who rise from the ashes of Saturday and are in the position to give you the duel that people think is just ordained to be Scotty and Rory's. Funny how they've never really dueled before. It's like how great he has been and how really consistent Rory is, and it also shows how people pointed out it doesn't matter how small you want to make fields. Like you can't manufacture fucking anything in this sport. You just can't. It's fucking awesome.
No, not at all. And it's funny that they do seem to play their best at separate times. And Rory does usually play better towards the end of the year. I would like to see them go head-to-head at Bay Hill because they both won there. That's really a Scotty course. I mean, just like Torrey Pines should be too, but there's more. There's something about that course when he gets there. He's just unstoppable.
And the thought of like the first post football week is a Rory Scotty duel. Like this is great. Yesterday still felt weird. No football, but
it did. We got a really good Sunday though. It was exciting. You had names on the leaderboard. You had unknowns making a run. But I get that Dietrich just had won last week, so I think that was in the back of everyone's mind. They're like, oh, it's going to happen this week. But was there any chance that Patrick Rogers or Denny McCarthy was going to win this tournament when they were in the final group? It felt like no. Even when they were playing well, it still felt like no.
Yeah, it's a hard place sometimes to get home in that final group. I certainly didn't think so. I didn't know it was going to be Mav who's going to be the guy to rise to it, but he dummied Morikawa in his 2-ball on Saturday. He dummied JT yesterday. It's just fucking beautiful. And Pat, when he made that goddamn par after hitting it, getting that horrible break.
Oh, you're talking about you're talking about Mav. I was talking about Rogers and Denny.
Yeah, I'm saying I didn't think they had a chance. I didn't think it was going to be Mav to rise from the ashes, but it was beautiful to watch.
Those first. What did JT say after the round? That if they had been playing match play, he would have. JT's like, I would have been 1 up through 1 and then lost the next 10 holes.
Just crazy what that guy has been about. I don't guess he needed one more, had to get the last. He made that great save on 17. It's just been beautiful golf for a period of time from this guy.
Well, let's talk about that though. The bad break, because someone was just like, maybe if you just hit the fairway, then you don't get the bad break. Normally, I would agree with that, but I kind of saw what Mav was doing, and I kind of agreed with it. I'm actually shocked more people didn't do what he was doing. Like his miss was just going to be, I'm going to hit it really right. He basically remember when Leishman won here? It's essentially what Leishman did. He's like, I will miss the fairway by so much. Not even like left is death. If you don't hit the perfect shot with a draw around like where like the cliff is, like why even try to bring out of bounds into play? Like you're not Louis at the US Open. Maybe just avoid over there. But if you miss really far right where he missed, where that pin was at the very left of the green, he would have had an awesome angle in to that pin. And just unfortunately, not only did it hit the fan and ricochet back in, it didn't make it to the bunker. If it makes it to the bunker, it's fine. Scotty was in that bunker. I mean, he ended up with like a 40-foot putt that he almost made. But at least, it's an easy 2-putt from wherever you hit it, and maybe you end up sticking it in close. It's just the fact that it got stuck in the thick stuff on a downslope after hitting a fan. If it gets past the fans, it's in that like trampled down area. It's probably a really good lie.
Very well said. Ludwig was also horrible off the tee this week, and he made that egregious mistake of trying to draw it over the cliffs on 4. Maybe that was just a total
every day.
miss.
Every day he bogeyed. Yeah. He bogeyed 4 every single day.
He almost from 210 out. He hit it to 6.5 feet. He almost saved par. Would have been as magical as the one Mav made just earlier in the round. Mav, I mean he. I guess the strategy there was perfect. He was 50, 60 to 1 to win this week, which is, it's almost like they wanted to keep you off him. Wasn't like a super short price, but in this sort of field with that sort of competition, we know the California courses he loves and he's comfortable, but I wouldn't even have thought of him really for this thing. And it's been beautiful. The run of golf has been so beautiful. I don't want to get ahead of myself, and I'm happy that you keep putting it off because I don't want to lay down markers or it would just be embarrassing, but we'll do it soon enough. I mean, just like there have been in Europe, there are spots open at the back end of the Ryder Cup team, and I don't know the way he could just hit those irons and putt to a match. It's on my mind right now after just how beautiful he's playing. It's early, but it's on my mind.
Worth noting that the Davis Thompson Victory Lap Fest is probably not something you want to do at the beginning of the third round.
I didn't see that.
There we
I
go.
missed those. I guess I wasn't online that hard. That's a tough scene. That's a tough scene. It was like cringe worthy watching him get home on Saturday.
And he had played so well. Like he was the way that Patrick Rogers was nails from basically the moment that Davis Thompson started to struggle, Patrick Rogers got really, really good and started making everything. And that lasted till the turn on Sunday. But until then, Davis Thompson was just hitting it to 10 feet and making putts every single day. Just basically how Mav played was like, it was exactly like how Mav played on Sunday. It was exactly like that. And he was just making slightly fewer putts, but still, it was just easy for him out there until it wasn't.
So I didn't really see like victory lapping, but I saw he was a very popular, not even really winner. I know Sky was on him. I'm certain Sky wasn't a victory lapper.
No.
But in saying that, like he didn't even T10 Pat. Like he didn't even bring home I guess the T20s, but he was like a very popular player. It seemed like him and Adam Scott to me were the very popular. Like, there's money we can make on these guys this week. Like, we don't have to bet them to win. I'm not knocking either of those picks.
Oh my god!
I just long-winded way of
Adam.
Long-winded way of saying I can't believe Davis didn't even like find the top 10 this week.
I gotta find what Adam Scott finished in putting for the week. It had to have been last. It was so pathetic. And he was just dominating tee to green for most of the week. You're like, oh, he's going to turn it around. He's going to turn it around. You're like, no, this is never, ever, ever going to happen because he can't make a 2-foot putt. He finished 50th in putting. He must have got better a little bit on the weekend. He ended up coming T37, but he was 16th off the tee. If you finish 16th off the tee and 11th in an approach in a field like this and knowing that you're a big hitter, and 11th in approach, like you're giving yourself birdie opportunities, the fact that you come T37 is not good.
The amount of bogeys you almost like allow yourself when you're 11th in approach. Like, you'll get them back or you won't make enough to like crush you. Yeah, that's a tough scene.
Jaeger, I also had money on, who could not putt at all. I think he lost like 5.5 strokes putting round one.
He struggled. I would have thought both rounds at Torrey Pines. I'm surprised by how he played, but I wasn't in on him.
So when it comes to Mav, that was the best, even 9 holes. It was really like 12 holes or 13 because he ended up making birdie on 13 as well. And then it started to turn on him. I don't remember the best I remember anyone playing to that extent over that extended period of time. It was probably Denny when he made the comeback on Akshay last year.
Jeez, I hadn't even thought of it.
Like, when is the last time you remember someone going that nuclear?
I mean, there have been like 59s lately, but yeah, in terms of that course, just it was like marvelous.
And he wasn't even getting, even when he wasn't making birdie, even to close it out. It's not like he played poorly down the stretch. He was hitting like, when Scheffler got to 16 and ended up making the bogey on the par 3 when he put it in the bunker, double-crossed himself. Like, Mav just steps up, plays the low draw just at the front of the green, like the shot that you're supposed to play on that hole. He had such control of his game. It was very impressive.
Yeah, and he had 2 big par putts down the stretch. Obviously, the make on 17, and there was one a hole or two before that where it was like a 7-footer that he just puts... right in the middle of the cup. I guess, Pat, is this like golf hardos? Let's see him bring that to Bermuda. Let's see. Show me, Mav. Show me. But I'm excited. He's not I mean, again, I know it's a microcosm of it, but he was matched up with JT and Colin in 2 balls on the weekend. He molly-whopped them both.
That's always good. Ludwig lost me a head-to-head parlay with Justin Thomas that I put out on Saturday morning. Yeah, I was 2-0-1 because Henley blew a 5-stroke lead with 7 to go because he made 5 bogeys coming down the stretch. Fortunately, he was able to make par on 18 to get the push in that matchup. But I needed Ludwig to beat JT, and Ludwig made a hole-in-one earlier in the round. I was like, oh, this is it. And then he hit the skids later on in the round once everything got a little bit, like the wind was way down on Saturday in the morning, and then it picked up, and that's why everyone basically towards the back started to struggle outside of Patrick Rogers, who had just played really, really good. The last one I wanted to make mention of was our guy, Michael Kim. A T30, it goes T2, T13. I mean, I don't know if he's got his card locked up, but he must be pretty high up in the FedEx Cup. Yeah, he's number 27 in the FedEx Cup standings already. I mean, one more good result probably secures his tour card for the year. So he's getting the PME bump. You appear on the show, you get your tour card.
Yeah, incredible run. Like for a different tier of golfer, he is like leading that pack. Very impressive. Yeah. I don't know what to say other than I'm pleasantly surprised.
So very quickly, I don't understand why Liv ran their flagship event against even if this was at Riviera. It's still one of the bigger tournaments of the year. It's Tiger's tournament. Why not just wait until this week when you can go head to head with the Mexico Open and not get tape delayed on actual Fox by the Daytona 500?
I'm not really sure. I think maybe the players rule the roost because they played, what was it, last week?
They played back-to-back weeks.
And these pampered fucks who are on all tours, but specifically that tour, they certainly weren't going to fucking hang out for a week in that part of the world. And they didn't want to come home and have to go right back. So that's the only answer I can give you.
They weren't even in that part of the world, though. They were in Saudi Arabia and flew to Australia.
I don't know what to tell you.
Really strange.
Yeah, it is so short-sighted. They need to be taking on this fucking event. And it's out there. They are so, I mean, yeah. It's just no one watches. No one gives a shit. This whole thing is going to be about like this channel on Fox, this tour on Fox when they play in like Miami and Chicago. Like that's what this whole thing is about. I don't know. Good luck to them. They suck. I like a lot of the players there, but this operation, it sucks. It sucks. They didn't even. I saw their numbers locally in Australia were fucking down big.
There was also the new CEO of Liv had an interview talking about how all the best players are on Liv. Like, at least lean into having a bit of self-awareness about what's going on. You have great players on Liv. No one is denying that. But if you're like, oh yeah,
they say best fields in golf.
Yeah,
like they say the most stat. Yeah. That is their shtick. They go by that. That's not just the commissioner's talking point. That is their talking point. What an exhausting fucking ordeal. I mean, whatever. They're rich. I like how, I mean, we'll see. It does seem like for the moment in the public sphere, the tables have certainly turned and the long game the PGA is playing is now working. And I know you spoke about it last week, but it's been a pretty big talking point around golf circles in the contracts for Bryson, for Brooks. I thought your suggestion of make goods would be they'd have to fucking play Mexico or Canada or John Deere, Detroit, Honda, not all of them, but their make goods back would include being faces of our dog days or our shitty or the lower run events. I'm hyper fascinated. I don't know if it's Jay who deserves the credit. I say that, but is like the strategy of just slow rolling the shit out of it. Well, no, my understanding
the strategy
has come from the Arthur Blanks and the John Henrys and that sort of investment fund. But slow rolling the shit out of it, it seemed at the moment has turned the public back on their side.
It's not that. It's just it's nothing the PGA Tour is doing. They basically just had to continue to exist. And listen, the war is not over on this front either. Although I do think a merger is probably imminent at this point. Whether it happens this year or next year, who knows?
Trump.
But just Liv keeps shooting itself in the foot. And even you had to wait out the Saudi fund to be like, all right, we don't want to throw any more money into this. And it seems like there's just the rumors are that they're starting to get to that point. Like, this isn't working.
We've already established, like, Bryson Sheer. I mean, not.
Imagine if Liv didn't have Bryson.
Yeah, that is kind of my point. Like, Bryson, I think you would think, like, everything from startup, and startup is expensive. But they must, like, the John Rahm thing has to be a tipping point that we all thought could be a tipping point in the merger, but it I think in the end proves to be a tipping point that none of these guys fucking matter, other than like Bryson. None of them fucking matter. No one gives a shit about any of them. Do we want to like see them play together more? Yes. Do we think these guys will, like, John Rahm could win majors? Of course, but even Rory, like, no one gives a shit.
Rory would be different.
Like,
we did this. We did this when I think it was me, you, and Wiley broke down who the most important players in golf are, and there was 3 that were very clear. I mean, non-Tiger division. I mean, Tiger's not even like a player anymore. Oh, although when he called Scotty's game mundane on the broadcast, I got a legit lol out of that. That was pretty funny. It's just like he's just so good. It's like he's boring. It's essentially what Tiger was saying. But there's 3 guys who matter.
I take back that the people don't give a shit about Rory, but like no one moves, like really
Spieth.
needle movers
Spieth,
don't
Bryson,
really exist.
Spieth, Rory, Bryson are the 3 players who matter in golf to the public. Not to us. Scotty obviously matters to us, but he's not a ratings drive. Like, you're not there. I'm sure he has his fans. Ricky still has his fans, and there are Brooks fans. But even when he played on tour, no one cared about Brooks unless it was a major. He didn't care unless it was a major. That hasn't changed.
Yeah, I mean, listen, at 4 times a year, it almost feels like our appetite is wet enough, like, for Brooks. Like you said, at the majors. John Rahm, he's going to be at the majors? Cool. Like, I don't give a shit. Bryson's the only guy who I feel like, I mean, listen, I love Hatton. I'd love to watch more golf of Tyrell Hatton. I love Joakim Niemann. But like no one is missing them. The PGA's problems aren't because they're not there. I stand behind their more presentation based than anyone not named Bryson not being there.
There is a triple header on TGL today, and there's another match between the Boston Common and the New York Golf Club on Tuesday night. I have made bets on each of the first 3 of each leg of the triple header. I have taken our Bay Area Golf Club with Ludwig playing in both matches today. He hasn't WD'd from TGL. He got on his plane, he got his $4 million, and he's going to Jupiter to play. I've bet them twice. I still think that they're the best team, and they're not playing LA, who's playing in the first match against Atlanta. So I bet LA over Atlanta, and then the Bay plays Atlanta, so I bet the Bay there, then I bet the Bay again. I just think that the Bay and LA are by far the 2 best teams in this.
Okay, these 3 games, they Monday and Tuesday, or which day?
No, there's a triple header today on Monday, and then on Tuesday there's another one at nighttime. So overall, there are 4 TGL
Oh, because
matches.
it's President's Day, so they're playing all day.
There you go.
Cool. Yeah. Makes sense. I saw even today, Pat, with Mexico odds up, like 20 minutes before we started, that on certain sites I had to see when I went into golf, like PGA Tour, it gave me TGL odds. I had to click over into Mexico odds.
Well, it's happening first. That's how you have to do it.
Yeah, I get it. Next man up. That's how betting site works. Next up, this is what we're going to show you. That's all good. Sure. Yeah, I'm in. I'm ride or die. The Bay, it was good that Ludwig withdrew, got him healthy for this Torrey. Easy plane ride over to Jupiter after you win $4 million. You just see, guys probably just took a nap. So ride or die,
Do you think?
Ludwig.
Do you think it hurts him that he just won, or do you think he's all amped up to go win again on T? They haven't played since week 1.
Yeah, no, there could be a little semi rust. It seems like everyone's gone through the wash a couple times, but I don't know. Putting on carpet after Poa, I think all these guys will be rolling them right in.
I suppose that's true. So yeah, I like it. I like LA. I think they're minus. Well, the odds were much better when I bet these last week, but I just looked at the current odds. And I did the video on it last week where I still had the same picks, just at better odds. But you can still get it on them right now. They're all basically coin flips. So you have LA over Atlanta. That's the Justin Thomas Patrick Cantlay team. It's minus 115 right now, I believe. And then the Bay is minus 125 over Atlanta, and I believe they're minus 120 for the late game against Boston Common. I don't believe that Rory is playing, but I didn't think about it that hard.
I don't because to me it's as big of a story as anything. Is there any talk about like the Brooks and Bryson like contracts and how that might go? Like, is the PGA daring them to sign 4 more years? Like, I dare you to take another 300 million. Or that, like, they haven't indicated how they could come back even if they didn't sign, even though I assume they could.
It would be stupid not to take them back, especially because all the PGA Tour guys are now benefiting from Live. Like Rory even said, he's like, I get paid way more now because of Live. And all these guys at the very top end all made like 4 times the amount of money they were ever going to make because those other guys left for Live. And I think that they acknowledge that and realize that it'd be stupid to penalize them for coming back.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
listen,
putting,
Rory made a lot more money.
A lot of them made a lot more money. Scotty made way more money. Ludwig made more money. Victor made more money. Morikawa, Thomas, Cantlay.
Everyone.
Denny made more money.
And 2 people lost. Fans and sponsors.
We even got Anthony Kim back in our lives.
Okay.
He's probably
I
not
don't
gonna
know.
come back.
Maybe this is like an indication of my mean spirit because I don't really do this on the PGA, Pat. I only do it on the PGA because, as I've said many times, when I'm away or not watching or miss like a lot of action, I scroll to the bottom and I go up.
Everyone does. Okay, this is. I feel like this is universal to anyone who bets on golf.
Okay, so at this point, this is putting French fries in a cheeseburger.
I want to say it though. I want to say that people open up their app, they don't look at the top, they scroll immediately to the bottom and slowly scroll up and make sure that none of their guys are at the bottom. That's the first thing I do.
Yeah, every day, because I don't even watch on Thursdays. Like I'm not. Like you've used to work with me. I don't want to be around. I just get too annoyed over a missed 5-footer. I can't do that on a Thursday. So I just like close it out. Despite what people think, I do have things to do. But on Live, I like scroll to the bottom like for shits and giggles. Like for genuine, like I want to see what's going on down here. DJ lost by 8 to Blandy.
Boy, it's not good.
Like it's just so but shout out like Bubba's taking some arrows. Like he played some good golf. I feel like he's maybe it's Middle East, but he's always sometimes. But yeah, I like just my mean spirit. I scroll down because of the mean spirit in me. Like I want to see what's going on down there. Holy shit, sometimes. It's fucking dark.
I didn't even realize it was on. Like I knew it was on, but it never occurred to me to try to tune in to watch it.
Also, we're on tape delay, which is so weird. It was on Fox, but like an hour behind in the middle of the night.
Sure.
Why?
I don't know.
If people are hardo enough to give a shit, at least let them have the live. A lot of those people are the same people who know where they could track it. So you're like, it's just disingenuous to the actual limited audience, hyper limited audience. So everyone's pissed.
When you're going on a golf trip, you don't need any more stress. You don't need any more costly airline fees. With complimentary insurance, real-time tracking, and dedicated support and on-time delivery, you need to use ShipSticks.com. Just schedule your shipment Attach your label, and ShipSticks handles the rest, delivering your gear directly to your destination. You don't want to have to worry about a connection, whether your clubs are going to make it and you're racing to the course. No, your clubs are going to be there. ShipSticks offers white glove shipping for golf clubs and luggage. Travel worldwide without luggage. ShipSticks delivers to 180 countries for a hassle-free, gear-free journey. Right now, ShipSticks is offering my listeners 20% off your first shipment when you go to shipsticks.com and use the code PatMayo. Go to shipsticks.com and use the code PatMayo to get 20% off your first shipment and save yourself the hassle this golf season. That's shipsticks.com. Make sure to use the code PatMayo so they know that I sent you. Welcome to the TGL presented by SoFi, golf's newest league. It's sharp and it's electric. 2 hours of hammer dropping, overtime forcing, playoffs on the line golf with 24 of the best players from the PGA Tour. Monday, February 17th, triple header time. Atlanta versus LA, Atlanta versus the Bay, and the Bay versus Boston. Then Tuesday, it's Tiger and Jupiter against the New York Golf Club. Tune in to TGL matches only on ESPN, ESPN2, and ESPN Plus. Keep up. It's golf. Let's talk Mexico. We're well into the show. We should probably talk about what's going on at this course. We got Vidanta. I like this tournament. A palate cleanser after the past 4 weeks, I do think is really nice. We've lost Maverick McNeely and we've lost Keith Mitchell so far from this field, so it's slightly watered down. But as I made mention of on the research show, those 10 DP World Tour spots that have opened up, they might not register with the average fan, but I do feel like it's really strengthened this tournament in particular, because this is the first time that almost all of those guys end up coming over. So it's a bit of akin to, and maybe you're not like me in this sense, but during the NWO era in WCW, like 96, 97, we didn't get Nitro up in Canada until later on. So the only WCW that I would ever really get would be WCW Saturday Night, which was just full of guys from 10 years ago who are like fat and out of shape now. You had maybe the new guys on the scene, like cruiserweights or whoever it was that you would get. Then like your steady, like mid-level guys will come in and beat up some jobber. But you might, catch a Chris Jericho on there and be like, man, this guy's pretty awesome. Like maybe he's going to be something. That's what this Mexico tournament has turned into. Like, remember people forget, like, Bobby Mack was, in the second to last group here last year, fighting with Knapp and Valimaki. Ramen Fino have obviously won this tournament too, but we've seen some guys, potential superstars for the future, kind of start out here coming over from Europe, because this is one of the first tournaments they actually get a chance to play in, because we had 2 elevated events. We had Phoenix, which is a smaller field. Like, it's either Farmers or this are really the first 2 times we can see these guys, and they're all in the field this week, which is awesome.
I feel like I used to be excited for that for the Honda, but it has become
this
here
because
it just got bumped in front.
But the big Euros all come over because there's elevated events now. So Pebble Beach becomes their landing spot where we see Tommy and Lowry and all the internationals. You're right. It used to be the Honda, but now they're here a month earlier. And now they have TGL commitments as well, all of the top guys. But this is where we're seeing the rest of the Euros. Because like this week we have both of the Hogjaards, Manacero, Thirsty Lawrence is in the field, Matt Wallace is in the field, along with like your middle tier PGA dudes. Like Mav would have been one of those guys, but he just played so well and won so much money, he doesn't need to play in here anymore. But the field's a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I saw you tweet out about the field. I was surprised by that as well. What the hell? I was surprised by that, but pleasantly. We've seen a few guys dip out in the last few weeks, and also like some guys are playing good enough golf where, a couple weeks ago I thought they'd be here, but now they don't have to. Like a Burger. But overall, stronger than I thought. But I'm still not really interested in betting any of those top guys.
We'll talk through it here in a second. It did screw up the Underdog best balls, though, because we all drafted our teams to make sure that we had 6 dudes playing in Mexico. And most of the guys that we identified, be it Burger was one of them that you could pick late. There was a few other ones along the way. The only one that we knew for sure that was going to play was going to be Jake Knapp. I know that Byron took a lot of Finau because he assumed that he'd be playing this week, but he ended up skipping out on it. But all of the guys that we targeted to play in this tournament ended up playing too well over the first 7 weeks, and now they're too good to play in this tournament, so they're not here.
I love that. I love that very much.
So the top
but hey,
of the
it's the fine line you walk. The strategy paid dividends in the first session, but it's kind of might backfire a little here. But I don't know. I'd say you could overcome.
you
There'll
can.
be a lot of birdies this week, but you'll be able to overcome it.
But if you had 6 guys, there's some guys who have like no one playing. But 7,436 yards at Vedanta. It's a par 71. Jake Knapp's obviously the defending champ. Finau and Rahm won the other 2 years. Last year was the first year it had moved to February, so you can keep that in mind, although I don't know how much different that the course played all in all. I made a big link between here and Torrey Pines. A lot of guys who do well because it's a big driver-heavy course. It's basically not Torrey Pines South. It's not Torrey Pines North. It's Torrey Pines Easy, Jeff. Eagles can be made. There's giant greens. There's going to be some 3-putts. There's super slow greens, but you want to be able to take your driver and hit it anywhere. There are 13 holes with water in play. That ends up becoming the problem. So if you can avoid the water, you're going to be fine here as long as you mash it off the tee.
So, like your player profile, like will your betting card have any of like plotter types at all?
When you say plotter types, like I don't think you need to be the like. I wouldn't just say, "Oh, bet Potgieter and you're gonna win" because he's the longest guy in the field. I mean, I do like him.
No,
whether or not I'm gonna bet.
I'm trying
him.
to think like a JT Poston
type. So
Harry Hall maybe
so
profile.
You're talking about Carson Young.
Sure. Yes. Thank you.
He has actually excellent results on Pass Palom in his career, but no, I probably won't get to him. I just think, not to say that he can't win. Obviously, he can win. He can make every putt and hit his irons great. He can basically do what Denny was just doing at Torrey. Like, you're going to see those guys up near the top of the leaderboard. By and large, it's going to be the big hitters that are up there. Like, the only good bet that I've really made so far this season was that top 40 parlay that I gave out at Torrey Pines, which just featured guys who had played well at Mexico the year before. It was like Valimaki, Knapp, and whoever the hell it was that ended up cashing it at 110 to 1. But that's where the link comes in. Like, the bigger hitters just have an easier path to scoring at this course. Like, there's a par 4 that the eagle rate is 3%. Like, these dudes can hit like 5 wood into that hole, the bigger hitters. And there's 3 par 5s you can get into and like easily into if you bomb it out there far enough. So that's the route that I'm taking this week.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just copying that playbook. It seems like the obvious playbook. Watching those 2 shithouses smacking around last year when none of like the big names were involved. I mean, yeah.
One of the biggest things that I felt bad about was I thought that Pearson Coody was going to be in the field, but he's an alternate for this event. I need people to withdraw so I can bet on Pearson Coody to win this event. You know, he has 3 top 10s in a row on the Corn Ferry Tour.
You need people to withdraw to bet Pearson Coody.
Yes.
Okay.
Feel like I'm leaving money on the table if that's not happening. But if we go to the very top of the board, now that Mav, as you mentioned, was 12 to 1 to open this before he withdrew. So I guess my prediction of Akshay being the betting favorite was correct. He is 18 to 1. Rasmus Hogjaard is 20 to 1. Kurt Kitayama, who has a second place finish here. Patrick Rogers coming off a pretty good week, both at 22 to 1. Sam Stevens at 25. My guy, Michael Kim at 28. Ari O, Steven Yeager, and Taylor Moore are all 30 to 1. Then you have Aaron Rye coming in at 33 to 1. Ben Griffin's in that range as well. Those are all the players below 40 to 1. You say you don't like any of them? I think I have to bet Michael Kim, man. He's like, I can get a 30 to 1 on him. Might as well do that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you've been ride or dying on that train. I'll just applaud for you if he wins. Would Ben Griffin would be in that like profile as well that I like want no part of, right?
Yeah.
Or is he? Yeah.
I would like him at a shorter course if it ever happens for Ben Griffin. I'm just looking over the past. Let's see here. Let's go past 36. My research show has all of this. Obviously, if you have Fantasy National, you can go just effort all of this yourself if you really need to find something. But yeah, Ben Griffin's 83rd in this field in driving distance.
Might be like in.
I was thinking about firing on Akshay.
Yeah.
Whose name is spelled wrong on Odds Checker.
And then if he was going to say if it's spelled wrong on the book, then maybe if he loses, you can say, void that.
I didn't know who
It's a
that guy
different
was.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't want to bet on that guy. I wanted to bet on Akshay Bhatia.
I like him at courses like this where around the green is super simple. So even if he misses greens, not that big of a deal. Obviously, he's played well here in the past. I bet on him to win the year that I believe that Finau won. Finau outdueled Rahm on the final day, and Akshay was in the mix 2 years ago. I just think he's a class above everyone else here. Like you might say that Patrick Rogers is that dude. I don't believe that. Like if I was going to make the bet, it'd be on Akshay, Sam Stevens, or Michael Kim.
Stevens or Akshay. I don't know. I never feel like I'm putting this. I just they just profile out more to exactly what I'd want. But you make a good point with Bhatia because I do agree that he is a class different, in my opinion. Like if not at this moment, I think we all see that trajectory for him, and we have seen a lot in the limited history here, though not to the class of maybe those players in that moment. That this is a place where like class has sort of risen, and I do see a gap between him and the next man up. So based on that alone, I won't argue. I might not be there, but I totally get why that might be the move.
I may not be there either because you could probably put Taylor Moore into this mix. He's a big hitter, plays well at driver-heavy courses, and he can actually make the putts, which is very helpful. Although this is one of the easier putting courses from inside 15 feet, juxtaposed with last week at Torrey Pines, which is one of the most difficult inside 15 feet, and especially inside 5 feet with all like the weird undulations and break that are in some of those POA greens. But I don't think that, and Paul made this point to me earlier too, like you could bet Beau Hossler 33-1, or you could bet the same guy at double the odds. Like it's really, who do you like? Just go with them because it really doesn't matter what the odds are because there's guys at 100-1 that are really not that dissimilar from the guys at 30-1.
And that's the conversation, right? Anytime we get into this stuff, it's like you can make a case that any of to everything Paul said. And that's like the internal battle. But also these are sort of the events where like you're sometimes willing to swallow a bit when you believe in someone.
You're not a spitter?
You like, I don't know. You believe a guy is like a winner going to be a winner. This is where they're like, you are almost willing to just know versus this field, this is where I get my chance. And if it's 10, 12 points lower than I want it to be because there's no elite players here, then I'm going to ride.
That's how I feel about Stevens. Like Stevens is just, it feels like the win is coming for him. And again, it's a big driver heavy course. That's where he does all of his damage. Can he make enough putts? Who knows? 25-1 is not the price that I ever really wanted to bet Sam Stevens at, but it might be like him, Michael Kim. And then when I scroll down a little bit to this like 40 to 100 range, directly at 40, Kevin Yu is sitting there. Obviously he won in the swing season, but he's another one. Like if you just played well at Torrey Pines, I kind of want to bet you this week.
The first run through Torrey, I think we probably would have blindly taken Stevens at 25 here.
Afterwards, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, after that first Torrey event, it's like if there was futures on Mexico right now and I could bet Stevens at 25, I think I would place that bet. I mean, it would make sense. It's sort of like who's going to win Mexico when you consider the field for, I swear, 8 months. I feel like 80% of our audience would have said Sam Stevens. So then to not maybe be here at at the event at what I won't say it's a good number, but I don't think it's an totally unfair number relative to the field. I might feel silly, but right now I am more in that I mean what Paul said, like flood the zone. Like, just why double, triple invest at the top? Like, just flood the zone with bodies.
That's what I did last year.
From 50 to 150, you know?
I hit Knapp at 40 or 45 last year, and it felt like Knapp was a pretty relative unknown. He had one good finish, and it was at Torrey Pines when he ended up coming T3 at the Farmers a year ago. It was just like, I'm going to bet this guy basically at any number. I don't care. I think that he's going to win. Like, I would have preferred he be 80, what I thought he was going to be, and he opened at 40. I was like, oh, man, I can't believe this. But If you think that he's going to win. That's how I kind of feel about Kevin Yu, playing good golf. Like Smalley, I guarantee you Smalley's going to be a popular bet at 45. Nicholas Norgard at 50 to 1, I think is going to be a pretty popular bet too. Those guys just mash it off the tee. But so does Kevin Yu. That's why I like him more. I
like both of those. I like every name you just mentioned between you and Norgard. Just, I could get really cocky and try to pick him off. And Smalley, from the early indications, there are still 50s. He seems like a very popular Monday morning bet.
Yeah, it's not going to be for me.
See why.
It's not going to be for me. That means he probably wins this event. But I got you to make a few bets for me in this range last night. I was stunned when DraftKings released their pricing and Knapp was 55. He was behind Kevin Roy in the odds board. I don't understand why he opened at 55 to 1. He's down to 30 now.
Oh. I was gonna say, I still thought there might have been some 50s this morning.
There may be a few lingering. Like FanDuel might still have a 50 on them. They did earlier, but that might be gone.
45.
It's down to 45 already. Yeah, that number's gonna crash. It's too high for the defending champ. Who's like he's playing good golf.
Yeah, he's not. He's playing really good golf for what he needs to do to beat this field.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's no disputes there. I am just like, Pat, you've done this shit for me for too long to think like I'm not going to bet this like cool young Euro who hits it like to the moon this week at 55 to 1. I bet this guy a decade ago if this was the Honda. I'm going to bet him. I'm going to bet Nicholas Norgard this week at 50.
And I'm going to bet Nicolai Hogjaard at 50 to 1.
Oh. Yes. We didn't talk about Rasmus, but because maybe he should be in that group.
Well, Rasmus is 20 to 1 to win this tournament.
No, but maybe he should. Maybe he should be. Like I think he's fairly priced with Stevens, I guess is what I meant to say there. But yeah, if I had to make a Hogjaard bet, it probably would be at this bigger number. And you should let the people know what Rasmus is up against this week.
Yes, Tim has selected Rasmus as his one and done. I don't know if he knows who Rasmus Hogjaard is. He might think that he's Nicolai, but that's good news for us if we're betting on Nicolai. If Cust thinks that he has put his curse onto Nicolai, he's actually put it on Rasmus. But listen, they're twins.
The problem is when Nicolai's playing well, Tim is going to think he picked Nicolai, and then he's going to curse us.
Yeah, but that's going to be fine because he won't know what he's doing. He'll think that he's like victory lapping his own win, but he'll just be victory lapping our win, which will be great. He played well.
So how long will it take Tim to realize he picked the wrong Hogjaard challenge?
If no one tells him, then I mean Rasmus is clearly the better pick. He's 20 to 1 versus 50 to 1. Yeah. It's just Tim won't know the difference if he sees Hogjaard. Unless they're both on the leaderboard, he's not going to know the difference. So let's hope Nicolai gets up there. Oh, Nicolai can't lose. I'm such a genius. And then obviously he'll be wrong. It'll be great. Just no one tell him as we go into it. But he played well in Phoenix. His putting was good. His irons were good. His driving and around the green were absolute dog shit. I don't worry about his driving at all. Normally, it's usually quite good. As long as, again, he's not driving it into the water here, he's going to be fine. You bring those irons with you to Mexico, you bring that putter with you to Mexico, absolutely fine. And I don't know if it's going to be a problem for Rasmus, but he was awful at Torrey Pines last week. He was the worst guy in the field.
Yeah.
He lost I'm pretty sure he lost to that guy who was like the guy from the Black Tour.
Oh, the Charlie Siffer, Danny List.
Yeah,
he lost to Danny List.
I think that he did. Let's see. Danny List was 79-72.
Yeah, I don't hate watch the bottom of a PGA standing. Like I mentioned, I might.
Yeah, Rasmus was 82-77 last week. He's dead last in the field.
Okay, yeah.
And maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's just like, fuck, I just came second in Phoenix, got a big payday, went out and got wasted, played terrible, knowing I was getting guaranteed
You think Tim
money.
has any idea? Tim has no idea about that, though.
No.
Okay, yeah. Okay, Nicolai.
And you know what? I don't even know if it matters.
Let's reverse Cust. I could get in on Nicolai here. 55 to 1 still available. Okay, Hogjaard. Here, Pat, here's the thing. I've been told that while Americans have taken the mantle in hockey, they no longer win golf tournaments.
This is true. Only Harris English can win if you have the American flag next to your name in golf.
We'll change that. But yes, for starting, I'm all Euro at the moment, it seems. Oh, and my other bet is more Euro. Okay, yeah.
All right, so the other two bets that I have in so far in this range, there's actually two bets on one of these guys. I bet EVR to win at 66 to 1. Obviously, he's won in Mexico. That was in Cabo. Obviously, not the same course. However, he was first round leader here last year, and he was second in the first round the year before that. Eventually, his ball starts to find all these water hazards, because that's what happens to EVR. But in the first round, he seems to be fine. I also bet him as first round leader at 60 to 1 with the top 5.
As someone that doesn't even like play in those waters, they get first round leader out this early.
Oh, yeah. It's a competitive
Okay,
market out
interesting.
there.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, people if the crowd, people want that shit, give it to them. Give it to them. The first name you said there I didn't mind. EVR. It's tough. He might find the water.
But, okay,
but he does do a lot of the stuff that I would want to bet here, and I kind of might trust him.
Think about
comparatively
this.
to the other guys.
Bo Hostler at 33 or EVR at 66? I feel like
Yeah,
that's an easy choice. Hostler could win, whatever. But you know what I mean?
Easy choice. I could also lean for neither, but yeah,
that's probably the play.
that point that emphasizes the point, and I don't disagree. Let's go. How bad is Ryan Fox playing, Pat?
Very badly.
Yeah. Oh yeah, not good.
No, very poor. But Antoine Rosner is getting my money at 80 to 1.
That's one that I think will be popular, but I want to circle the wagons on Rosner.
Now, why do you think?
I've seen all the Euro boys like riding around Rosner for this.
Okay, I mean, I like him. He's big off the tee. He's just coming off a T4 at the Qatar Masters. He's never really played all that well in America. We're not in America. We're in Mexico. Very good lag putting as well. Shout out to Drew Matthews at Red Dachik on Twitter, Fantasy Golf Bag, friend of the show. I got him to send me over some lag putting stats based off the Spectrum data. I thought it was pretty interesting. Do you know who the best lag putters in the field are?
Which lag putters are on the Spectrum?
Yeah, which ones?
That's a tough one. That's not like this group. It's not something I'd stare down too hard. But I assume Rosner's making the list.
Yeah, he's inside the top 10. So it's actually, and I might end up having to bet Thirsty Lawrence. He's like over 100 to 1. But he's the best leg putter. Max McGreevy, Ryan Gerard, Cade Cummings, Frankie Cappan, Vic Perez, Rosner, Rasmus Hogjaard, Bo Hostler, Matt Wallace, Hashino, Mac Meisner, Nicholas Norgard, Trey Mullenix, Ben Griffin, Jesper Svensson is another one I could see myself going with. You got to take some chances on some long shots this week, I think. Even if it's just in the placement market, like win with a top 8, because those top 8s will pay hugely. Like, can you find the Valimaki of this year?
Is ADDC not playing?
I think he's also an alternate.
Oh, God.
There's a chance he's not good, by the way.
I know, but you want me to try to like find a guy you'd be like 250 to 1 to try to be Valimaki. That's who I would want to do. I'm not like actually I'm just going like super long shot. That's who I went fishing for and I couldn't find him. And he played not horrible he was in Europe somewhere recently where he actually like played decent for the first time in a long time. But okay, so it's him and what's the other alternate we're keeping an eye for?
Pearson Coody. Maybe his dad may own this resort. It's already working for Matt McNeely. He's flying private jets and landing places and almost winning Torrey Pines. Maybe why not Pearson Coody if you can get into the field?
What's annoying about these guys is usually when they're alternates, we'll lose a little juice on the number because we got to bug the books to even like put them.
Yes, that's never fun.
As opposed to if they were just there right now, they'd be like a number I'd probably want.
Let me take a look at the ADDC. Adrian Dumont de Charaye ended up coming T8. at the Cutter Masters, which is the one that Haotong won a few weeks ago. So you had, who else is in the field from this? You had Rosner was 4th by himself. ADDC was T8 in that tournament.
Cam cried. I don't want to pick on Cam, but Cam was in my DMs when I woke up complaining he had the guy who came in second place in that one.
Oh, the other random Danish dude?
Yeah, who isn't the Danish dude I'm betting.
No. Goddard, I think, is super interesting in this field if he can make a few putts, and by and large, these are very easy. So Goddard's pretty much down the board. We didn't talk about Thorbjornsen, but at a Bombers Delight Fest, we saw 2 Stanford guys do pretty well at Torrey Pines. Maybe it's time for Thorbjornsen to keep on that train. Vince Norman.
Does he bomb?
What's that? Say that?
He's not going to bomb it for us, is he?
Michael Thorbjornsen? He's going to be one of the longest players in the field. That's what he does. He just crushes it off the tee.
Oh, sorry. I'm looking. Sorry. I just opened the waste management red lights. I guess the numbers are skewed though, because they have him as 120th.
For what?
Off the.
Are you looking at distance or off the tee?
No. Yeah. Sorry. Off the tee.
Yeah. He's not super accurate.
Yeah.
But that doesn't matter
As
here.
long as just got to avoid the water. Yeah.
Hayden Springer is actually another one as well. He's at 125 to 1. He, again, just played really well. I am honestly just going to look at the leaderboard from the Farmers 2 weeks ago and from last week and just try to pick out some long shots from there. Christoph Ventura is way down the list. There is one name, though, that Jackson Suber played well at Sony, played pretty well at Torrey for 3 rounds. But Springer at 120. Springer ended up coming, 6th at Torrey Pines a few weeks back. Ventura was in 4th. Lonto was in 9th. All these guys are way down the board. KH Lee was 9th. Paul's guy, I believe he's in the field this week. Valimaki is still down there at 110 to 1. But the one that I was really interested in, where the hell did he go? Now I can't even find him. He was just up on that board. Oh, no, Matteo Montesero, who had a pretty good run through 3 rounds at Torrey. He's 110 to 1, someone that we had believed in for a while. I was actually surprised to see him this far down the list.
The name always catches my eye on the list, but I don't.
Not for you?
I got my own losers.
Will Gordon is another one. Just another masher off the tee. Played really.
Does Jesper Svensson mash?
He does, but he's 66 to 1.
I didn't know we finished there, but yeah.
I'm trying to find
He's
stats on the DP World Tour site, and it's not good. Just you click on a page link, not a real web page once you try to click on stuff. But strokes gained off the tee right now. Nikolai is 5th on tour over there. Nikolai Norgard is 3rd in strokes gained off the tee so far on the DP World Tour as a part of their short season right now. If you want.
How shitty, Matty Schmidt, Toasty.
Toasty is interesting. If he could make a putt, it would be great, but it's always tough for him.
I'd probably rather Hayden Springer than Toasty, though.
Thirsty Lawrence at 120 to 1. I don't think I can resist that. He's thirsty for a win on the PGA Tour, and I want to be there to drink it up.
I don't blame you. Oh, I see Norman Zhang got in the field.
He's 450 to 1. He actually had my attention because he played pretty well at Torrey. Luke List is 120 to 1.
That's
seems large, right?
Yeah, and if he was 60, 70 to 1, would you be like, that's weird that Luke List is 60 or 70 to 1?
No,
I'm not.
No, not at all. I'd be like, oh yeah, of course he has the same odds as EVR.
Yeah,
of course he has the same odds as Bo Hostler, who's 33 to 1. I mean, Luke List has won twice on tour, and he's won at Torrey Pines, which I'm calling the course you want to look at for this.
I don't know. I don't think it was designed, but I don't know that I have a single American.
Knapp.
I guess I could bet Jake Knapp. But you mentioned someone that has my interest. As we, I want to load him up. But as we, as the Viking Cup as Ludwig's taken hold of the Viking Cup.
You like King Christoph at 100-1?
Yeah, fourth at Torrey a few weeks ago. Like, that's almost enough for me to want to play him at 100.
Yeah, I mean, I don't listen. There's going to be bad bets because most of them are going to lose. But I think if you're going to target this type of player, that's the way to do it. He made the cut at the American Express, T4 at Torrey. He was T50 at Waste Management, so it's not like he's in terrible form. With one good spike performance, came T7 at the Corn Ferry Championship to end last year as well. So he's playing good golf at the moment. Why not? So I'm going to add him to the list from way down there. So here's what I got. We do quick picks. Here's what I'm looking at for the Mexico Open. I got Michael Kim at 30-1, Jake Knapp at 55, Nikolai Hogjaard, now I'm doing it, at 55-1, EVR at 66 to win, plus first round leader at 60-1, and Antoine Rosner at 80-1. My short list from the top is going to be Kevin Yu or Sam Stevens. And then after that, from that 100-1 range, I got I haven't bet them, but I'm short listing Springer, Luke List, KH Lee, Lawrence, Ventura, all those guys. I have to pick and choose. I'm not going to bet them all, but find different ways to utilize those guys this week.
I just totally see myself flooding the zone, 50 to 150. But for now, we got 3 in. Nicholas Norgard. Honestly, not even too familiar with him. That's how insane I am. But, people come on and say, I don't know if Fienberg hits winner. Doesn't have a clue what he's doing. Well, let's watch Neugaard. I'm with you on Rosner. Been sold by all the European Tour hardos on that one. And Ventura at 100. So those are the 3 I got in. Hayden Springer 120 is probably one that I'm also liking. I like him more than a lot of guys who are, between 60 and his number. But flooding the zone, just bodies. I'm body count is, I think, the word I'm looking for.
I like it. You're going to flood my zone if you hit one of these guys that I've bet on too. I'll be very excited about that. Of note, we're doing this show next week for the Cognizant Classic, formerly. It's like Twitter. We're still going to call it the Honda, but it's actually the Cognizant, the event formerly known as the Honda Classic. I'll be doing that live from Dominican Republic if I can get good Wi-Fi.
Do we know any early commits there?
I'm guessing Lowry and Straka, I think, are the early commits. There is you know what I should probably look at? The season-long planner on Fantasy National. It'll show the official
Burger, probably.
Burger for sure, but Burger's not on those guys' level, man. You think he is, but he's not.
No, okay, fine. But if he's back on their level in a year, I'm not that shocked. If he's no, maybe not. I take that back. Both those guys are. Yeah,
I mean,
sorry.
one
I'm
guy's
thinking
a
of
major
Straka of
champion.
a year and a half, 2 years ago.
He's got 3 wins now.
Level.
So
Yeah, he's not on Burger's. Burger's not on his level.
Burger has committed to officially playing. He seems to he has the check next to his name. Eckroat will probably be back. Ricky Fowler has committed to playing the Honda. Who did
Eckroat beat again?
Last year he beat Jake Knapp. Guys who played well in Mexico the week before Honda played really well at Honda the next week too. I have to record my Honda show before I know what the entire field is going to be, because obviously I'm going to be away and I can't do that show from the road. So I'm going to record it before I leave and then release it on Saturday. So I kind of have to guess what the field is going to be. But I think my big lean is going to be just see guys who did really well in Mexico. And even someone like Eckroat. Eckroat played Mexico last year. I think he came T36, but his tee to green was off the charts good. Don't know how I missed that. Probably because I'm an idiot and I'm bad at betting. But he ended up winning me a GPP on DraftKings, which was great.
So is that a weird connector? I could see the Torrey to Mexico, to Mexico, but Mexico to Honda.
I'll tell you
why. It seems like a very much precision-based. No,
it's not, though. It's not. I mean, because we have seen wins from players, really good players at PGA National that aren't the biggest hitters, we get duped into thinking it's not a big driver-heavy course, but it is. The guys who smash the ball with their drivers bigly are the ones who do really well at PGA National. You have there's a difference when Sung Jae wins. It's not like Sung Jae is short.
We saw Luke List JT playoffs, so you're not wrong. Yeah.
No, we saw Keith Mitchell run down Brooks and Ricky.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like Eckroat was pure precision last year. He hit basically every fairway. Like sometimes when you're playing well, you're going to play well. But how the hell does Jake Knapp get up there? Like there's a few of them, just driver heavy, driver centric type courses where similar players end up doing well. Torrey Pines, Mexico, PGA National, the Bunny Ranch for the Byron Nelson, Detroit, the 3M. Like all those places have similar types of players who do well.
So I guess it does make sense. Like the guys who play well are hitting it well with the drivers, but there could be good drivers who just find the water and they evaporate quickly. But when it comes to betting it, you're probably right. I just want to bank on a guy who's going to drive it and hope he's not off the grid.
Nick
I'm
Taylor.
excited to talk that. I'm happy you're going to bring a little setup with you because I like that tournament too much to not yuck it up.
Yeah, so do I. It's the reason put it this way. If I was gone this week, I probably would not have brought it to do the Mexico Open, although this is the first like real deep dive because I usually pick Mexico as the week I go on vacation, so I have never really done a big write-up. All of that will be in the newsletter this week. I've done the write-up already. It'll be released on Twitter as well once this show is out. Nick Taylor's playing, Woodland is playing, Min Woo is playing, and that's all the commitments we have so far. Official commitments from big players like, I don't know, Paul Waring is probably playing, but like no one's on his Instagram, so I don't think he has like a web page where he tells you where he's playing. If he can get into the field, he's going to play.
Yeah, I could see myself like piggybacking on like if my guys hit the ball well this week, I just see myself rolling out like the same guys.
Yeah,
next week plus Minwoo.
Even if they, I know, you know what? Min Woo was second place last year. He made that run on Sunday.
Oh, he did. Oh, that was close. I don't know how close because it felt like Eckroat was running away with it. But
yeah, I think he won by 3 and was never in danger. It'd be like when Tommy Fleetwood had the ultimate Tommy Fleetwood top 5 at Torrey Pines. Like he never really had a chance to win. It's like, oh, there he is. He's T5.
But he played. Listen, he was missing shorties on the front 9, but he wasn't getting exposed on TV like Rory was.
Or Ludwig early.
Ludwig could have won this thing by more than a field goal. I don't. There's a lot of like once we the Jekyll and Hyde balances out a bit, like everyone is fucked.
Yeah, or that's just who he is. I think we get spoiled with guys like Scotty, where Scotty played poorly, ended up with a good result, but it's so shocking to see him play like that. When anyone else plays like that, you're like, oh yeah, of course. Like no one makes the perfect shot every single time.
You're absolutely right. And you see Ludwig, he'll miss something he should have made, and he's just smiling. And I don't think Skovrin is like demanding things from him. He just knows, like, yeah, he'll make bogeys, but we're gonna make birdies in bunches. So we'll live with it. And I don't want to change this guy one bit. I'm excited to see what the wind brings. How long until the good players golf again, Pat?
2 weeks. Bay Hill, then players. And I was just looking at the Fantasy National Planner. The Valero field this year is really good. Ludwig's playing.
I saw a bunch of guys. I saw a tweet come out with a bunch of commitments that were like, holy shit. It must be, where is it on the schedule that they feel like that it's just a perfect rep run?
It's a week before the Masters.
Okay, yeah. Hopefully Canada gets the same. People want to rep up the week before the U.S. Open.
All the Euros play, so that's always kind of nice. Like Rory comes to Canada, Lowry comes to Canada, Hatton always did. Maybe he'll be back on tour by that point. Who knows? Tommy will play. Plus all the Canadians who are pretty good at this point, so you get a few other commitments along the way, and you'll be good to go. One and done picks for the Mexico Open. Already mentioned Rasmus Hogjaard has been selected by Tim Cust, who will be joining us tomorrow on the NFL show and next week on the NFL show. And a brand new Cust Corner coming out next week. Who do you want for the one and done? Tim and I are neck and neck at the top and you're way behind, but if you keep hitting outright winners, who cares, right?
That's true. I don't want to take your guy, but I just want to fade Tim with the other Hogjaard.
I like it. Nikolai Hogjaard?
Yeah.
Nikolai, and I'll take, you know what? Never thought I'd get to use him in a one and done, but here we are.
Rosner?
Friend of the show, Michael Kim, is going in as my one and done pick.
I like this. I like that. I like that. Yeah. When else are you going to use him? You might bet him to win. I kind of probably regret not going more at the top, but I just want to this whole like Tim Hogjaard split. I'm hoping has an effect.
Pretty good week to use Akshay if you want to. Unless you really like, I know that we've bet him to win the Masters, but that's because he was triple digits. If there was a week to take him, I feel like this is the, because it's not like this is a subfield event in terms of prize money. It's the same as like the American Express or whatever it was. And he's by far the best player in this field. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, for real one and done, I'd be burning one of these guys if Stevens or Akshay for sure.
I moved up in the big one and done this week. Do you know who my 3 picks were in the one and done?
Not Zalatoris.
No, I did not use him. I did bet him. He played better on Sunday, too. It was nice to see. Oh, I'll definitely lose money on him again at Bay Hill. I had Ludwig, Scotty, and Hideki as my 3 picks in one and done. So I went way up in the standings. You okay?
Good job. Yeah, I'm good.
You're not dying over there?
No, I don't know what's going on, but I'm good.
All right. That will do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. Smash the like to the channel. Obviously, the newsletter will have both my write-up and the tickets when they go on sale for PME Live. Sub and rate and review the show. Always a fun time on that. Jeff and I will be back tomorrow with Cust talking Jeff's NFL Power Rankings. As I mentioned, we'll be back next Tuesday as well with more NFL content. I'll be doing the shows live from Dominican Republic next week, but I will be back live with Tambo at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday for the DraftKings picks for the Mexico Open as well. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
Mayo Experience! Experience!